Let's go.
You are not allowed to touch me!
Let's go.
You are not allowed to touch me! You are not allowed to touch me! You are not allowed to touch me! You are not allowed to touch me!
Let's go.
You better let go, sir.
Let's go.
Oh my God!
Hey, that is unnecessary! Hey, that's not necessary, you guys.
As you all are probably aware by now, the state of Michigan has been at the center of controversy over the last few weeks after their Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer turned into a dictator and banned things that really had no impact on public safety. Unsurprisingly, the governor's actions caused an uproar from concerned residents, and there have been countless protests in front of the Michigan State House. One such protest took place just a few days ago and resulted in the forceful removal of 3 peaceful demonstrators from the House of Representatives.
You are not allowed to touch her, sir. You are not allowed to touch her.
What you are about to witness is what happens to women in America when they disagree with a Democratic governor. This footage is so insane and is a small glimpse of what's in store for the rest of our country if we let the Democrats take over. But before we go over everything that happened, please visit patreon.com/Caitlin Bennett to directly support my work and help me get security for when I can finally go out to film again. To pay this monster, make sure you go to patreon.com/Caitlin Bennett. You can support my work to pay for this monster of a security guard. For just $5 a month, you can gain access to my private Facebook group, and while you can't leave the house, we can get to know each other a little better in there. You can also get super cool perks such as an autographed photo in the mail every single month, or your name right here in the description of every YouTube video. Or you can go to cameo.com/KateMarieOX for a personalized shout out video from me. On Wednesday, April 29th, my friend Shelly and 2 others visited the State House to hold their elected officials accountable. And for some odd reason, it wasn't an issue for state senators to assemble there, but it was an issue for Shelly and her friends to be there.
So we're inside the Michigan Senate chambers. As you can see, the representatives that we were protesting outside are now gathering on the Senate floor.
After sitting in the Senate chamber and watching their elected officials from above, they ventured over to the House of Representatives to do the same. But for whatever reason, even though it wasn't an issue for them to sit in the Senate chambers just a few minutes before, now it was suddenly a problem for them to sit in an empty House of Representatives. Watch.
We're closed up here. We're closed up here now.
Well, you're closed.
Yep, we're closed. Yeah. We got seating restrictions. We don't have people over to the public.
You can go down to the speaker's library.
Wait, but there's absolutely nobody in here.
Correct.
Correct. So you have
So
to go.
does that sound appropriate? There's no seating in here, but there's nobody in here?
Yes.
It does? It sounds accurate?
We don't make
That's
the
what they
rules.
tell
We're
me.
What's up?
They won't let us in here.
Public is coming in the
That's
gallery.
illegal.
It is illegal.
That's illegal. This is
illegal,
our
violating-
public building. This is our house, so please call the cops.
They are currently calling security on us. So we are 6 feet apart. We are 6 feet apart.
And then after they all sat down, 6 feet apart, here's what happened next.
Let's go.
Nope, you're not Capitol Police. There is nobody here.
Let's go.
You are not allowed to touch me!
Let's go.
You are not allowed to touch me! You are not allowed to touch me! You are not allowed to touch me! You are not allowed to touch me!
Get her out of here.
You are not allowed to touch her! You are not allowed to touch her! You are not allowed to touch
Let's go.
You better let go, sir.
Let's go.
Hey, that is unnecessary! That is unnecessary! Hey, that's not necessary, you guys.
Since Shelly Gregory has been a friend of mine for a few years, I wanted to let her tell her story directly to you guys. Shelly, can you tell us what happened inside the State House on Wednesday and why you weren't allowed in the House chambers?
So we were at the Capitol. We were protesting as the senators were walking in, and as House representatives were walking in. And then Wendy's like, "Hey, I want to go up there and start recording the senators, see what they're doing." I was like, "All right, cool." So we went up there, and we started recording. We had no issues when we walked in the Senate. They said, "You have a First Amendment right to be here. Open Meeting Act apply." just try to still do your social distancing and whatnot. And we're like, okay, cool, no problem. So we went from the Senate gallery, and you go around the little half circle thing to the other side, and that's where the House convenes. And so we walked in there, we opened the door, and there was a guy in a red coat, and he said, the gallery's closed, it's full. And there was literally one other person up there. And then I was about to sit down. That's when this big dude came in, and he grabs Wendy by the arm. And then you can see me from Audra's viewpoint going, hey, you can't grab her. You can't grab her. That's not okay. All sorts of stuff. And then a guy came from behind and grabbed her arms. And as I tried to go to turn, the guy let go of Wendy, grabbed my arm, and then you see me get yanked off of Audra's camera. But as I was being dragged off, there was another guy who grabbed my cell phone out of my hand, and you can see right before it cuts off, because he hit the power button and it turned off, he grabs my phone and he threw it into the wall. And then the guy that had me by my collar, you can see me basically kind of get slammed into the door, and then literally I'm tossed out of the door.
Wendy was a domestic violence survivor, and it kind of messed with her emotionally, sent her into a panic attack.
Right. And I mean, you could hear her in my live stream. Somebody's like, who's crying? And I didn't want to show them Wendy, because, that was like, I didn't feel like it was my place. But I explained to them, I said, she just got viciously attacked worse than me and Audra did. I would be upset too. And they refused to call her an ambulance. She actually had to go down the flight of stairs and call an ambulance on the phone.
What do you think they were trying to accomplish by removing you from a totally empty room? What was the point of removing you guys?
I don't even know. They didn't have a point. I do know that, people were like, well, why weren't they placed in handcuffs and arrested? Because the Michigan State Police even knew that they were in the wrong, and that's why we weren't hauled off. Because I literally, you could see on the live stream, I asked the cop, I said, well, I'm going to talk to you normally. I said, if I grabbed you by your collar and I dragged you around, what would you do to me? He didn't answer, but I'm like, you would put me in handcuffs, right? And you would haul me off to jail, right? He didn't answer, but you could kind of tell by his facial expressions, like, oh, she's right. So they didn't mess with us. And actually, when we came back the next day, they all know me by name now. And they're actually really, really nice people. The state police is probably the only cops I actually really like. They've always been respectful of everything. They never cause a problem with us at all. So it's just, I think it's just ridiculous. I think the irony of the whole thing is that they wore red coats and they're suppressing the freedom of the press. So I was like, irony at its finest.
So, real quick, did you ever figure out if those guys in the red coats were actually Capitol Police?
They are considered the Capitol Police. They're technically called Sergeant of Arms.
Okay.
They're basically essentially rent-a-cops that are deputized. So they still had no jurisdiction to grab us like that.
You said in your live stream that you want to press charges against the men that dragged you out of the house. Are you still doing that? Do you have any plans for that?
Yes, we all do.
What do you want people who watch this video to take away from your experience at the State House?
So I want them to know that there are things that happen behind closed doors, and that there are things that they don't want you to see. And some of these Republicans are just not Republicans, and I've been calling them out, and I've been pushing them every single day this week to do the right thing. They finally did today. I got introduced to a lady. She's like, I can't see my 80-year-old mother because Whitmer won't let me see her. And she goes, but I saw that video. Me and my mom saw that video. And that's the reason why I'm here, is because of what happened to you. And I heard that over and over and over again. We're only here because of what happened to you, and Wendy and Audra. So it was amazing to see that people saw that video and they used that to, wow, it's really getting bad. because nobody seemed to believe us before. You know, the people say, well, you know, she's easing restrictions. It's not that bad. Well, no, it was really, really bad here. It was nice to see people that saw that and they shook my hand. They gave me hugs. They didn't care. They were like, we are so proud of you. And it was pretty awesome. So.
All right, Shelly, well, thank you for talking to us and sharing your story, and we certainly wish you the best of luck. Keep us updated on pressing those charges.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
So that's Shelly's story about what happened that day. And whether you agree with the shutdown orders or not, I think we can probably all agree that this kind of force was totally unnecessary, especially given the fact that they were allowed to be in the building and allowed to sit in the Senate chamber. But for some reason, it was the end of the world for them to sit in an empty House of Representatives. This just goes to show that even in times of crisis, truly sick people like the governor of Michigan will abuse their power, and instead of actually helping the people hurting the most, the state of Michigan is literally dragging their residents by the arms and legs. While red states have actually valued the input of their voters, the blue state of Michigan seemingly forgot that they are representatives and not tyrants. And this is just a small glimpse of what's in store for the rest of the country unless we re-elect Donald Trump as President of the United States this November. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to like and share, hit that subscribe button, and click the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you want to support my work, you can become a patron at patreon.com/CaitlinBennett and receive cool perks like an autographed photo from me in the mail each month. Or you can go to CaitlinBennett.org and get up to 75% off and free shipping on supplements and merchandise to support my work and start living a healthy life. My favorite product is Turbo Force because it gives me all the energy I need to make it through a long day of doing interviews. There are tons of other health supplements you can choose from to keep your body healthy during these uncertain times. And check out the website banned.video to see uncensored content from conservative creators that have been erased from social media.